parts of the country over the weekend. At least.
All right, it's the WSJM Morning Show, the video live stream edition. Good morning. I'm Ken Lundberg here on this May 19th, 2025. Mike Weibel is here as well.
Here I am.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
I was worried that you weren't coming in this morning. It got after 6 o'clock, and I thought, where's Mike? There's not even a truck.
Like it's at 5:45.
You're always here early.
Right.
It was unusual. I thought, should we send the hounds? Should I call him? I did text you. Can you tell people what I texted?
You did text me.
What was it? What did I text you?
I'll tell you in the 6 seconds.
You forgot already?
Yeah, I did.
Holy mackerel.
Oh, it was something from Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, Ferris Bueller's Day Off movie. Bueller. It was the little video short. I had a great weekend as well. I know we talked about yours already. You had the Run Walk Rock for Lori's Place.
Yep.
More than 700 people taking part.
They did.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's really good. And then you took yesterday to go golf.
Yep.
How'd you do?
Not good.
Oh, really?
No.
What happened?
Just it was windy. It was cold. I didn't score very well.
Oh.
Yeah.
I had another listener already say, "Suck it up, Mike."
Ah, well. I mean, I don't regret going. It just was not a great day. So.
Okay. No, that's fair.
It's one of those I call the handicap padding days.
Oh, what's your handicap golfing?
About 14.
Okay. So you're decent.
Well,
you're pretty decent.
Depends on who you talk to.
Well, anyone with a handicap lower than that.
Right.
Not so good.
Right.
Is Mike.
And then
he brings a garden hoe out there.
So there's the GAM, which is the handicap indexing people for Michigan. And you can look up people that you know.
Oh, okay.
And there's a couple people out there that I'm like, I don't think they're that good.
They're not that good.
I don't think they're that good.
How do you manipulate the GAM or how do you manipulate a handicap?
We just turn in scores that are lower than what they actually are, which doesn't seem.
That's not very golf-like.
No, doesn't seem very reasonable. But then on the other side, I know people who have a very high handicap who pad it.
Oh.
And then show up to these tournaments and then hit like a par golf round when they're a handicap 18 or 19.
That's rude.
Right.
That's disingenuous.
Cheaters.
The cheaters. No, I just happen to have the best game of my life.
Always at this tournament.
Always win the purse.
Right. Especially when it's a charity golf outing.
Do you ever have somebody? I mean, do you get to a point in golf where, okay, I've got a 5 handicap? I don't. My handicap is thinking I can golf. But do you have anybody, an official, go around with you to say, oh yeah, he does have that score.
No,
he or she does have that score.
No, because I think
it's all by your word.
Yeah, it's based on the last. I think it's the last 7 scores you put in.
Okay.
They basically average it out.
Okay. And when you say put in, you have to put it into a system somewhere.
Right.
American Golfers Association or something?
Something like that. But there's software out there for these golf tournaments that will kind of record, that tracks people nationally because of the sandbaggers that come in.
Someone who does not sandbag, Bill. Bill is with us on the video live stream. Hey, Bill. Good morning to you, sir. Good to see you. How'd you do this weekend? Were you out racing again? All right, we'll see. We'll get an update. It's 7:04. We've got news coming up. Do you see that Mexican naval ship that hit the Brooklyn Bridge?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not. I mean, 2 people died. That's horrible.
That sounds like a bad SNL skit.
And it killed 2 sailors. It injured 19 others on board. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of it, but it's one of those Mexican tall ships. It had the big tall masts and everything.
Yeah.
And it looked like they just lost power or lost steering or something because the thing just got caught by the current right into the bridge. And the engineers said, because they were asked, well, is this going to be like a Key Bridge situation where the structural integrity of the bridge is challenged? And he said, no. Not for a masted ship. These were built stronger than the wood. All right, it's 7:04. We've got news coming up in just a moment.
Our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WSJM News now. Team coverage from the WSJM newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
44 degrees in Benton Harbor right now, 45 in St. Joseph, and 43 in South Haven. We're seeing reports of some clouds, and I see some sunshine out there right now.
Again, I feel like romper room.
I see sunshine. I see clouds. I see green leaves.
Bill and Teresa.
Today's forecast does call for partly sunny skies. I see increasing clouds coming in with a 20% chance of showers. A high around 67 degrees inland. It's going to be a little bit chillier by the lake. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight's forecast, mostly cloudy. A 30% chance of showers overnight. Low around 47. Tuesday's forecast, mostly cloudy with a 70% chance of rainfall in southwest Michigan. High around 55 degrees tomorrow.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit chilly, a little bit wet. The wind is going to be a story. East winds 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusting up to 35 miles per hour. Wednesday's forecast, another 60% chance of rain. Let's see, Thursday, partly sunny, 20% chance of rain. Friday, partly cloudy. And as you plan your weekend, we still keep that chance of showers, but some sunshine as well. Tigers beat the Toronto Blue Jays yesterday, 3-2.
Yay, Tigers.
Tigers took 2 of the 3 games in that series. They play again tonight, not the Toronto Blue Jays. They'll be at Busch Stadium in St. Louis to take on the Cardinals. The first pitch is set for 7:45 p.m. You can hear it right here on your official Detroit Tigers baseball station, WSJM. Tigers will be home Thursday to take on the Guardians. But between now and then, it's going to be a tough series, I predict, with the Cardinals because they're doing all right. They're doing all right, especially at home.
Yeah,
they're doing okay. Anyway, Tigers, go Tigers. Some of the news that we're following from the WSJM newsroom this morning. The Berrien County Board of Commissioners has learned more about how the county's opioid settlement money is getting used. The board heard from Tricia Johnson of Sacred Heart Serenity Hills Recovery and Wellness Center, one of the 2 organizations selected by commissioners last year to receive the opioid funds to help people overcome substance abuse. Sacred Heart has been given $484,000 to expand opioid treatment services and its peer recovery programming at their facility in Berrien Center. However, Johnson told commissioners the expansion was a bit slow going due to a national shortage of social workers and therapists.
This grant was to cover a full-time outpatient therapy position and 2 peer recovery coaches. We didn't hire those right away. I had them posted.
Fortunately, Johnson said Sacred Heart has now found the outpatient therapist and 2 recovery coaches that it needs. She notes a place like Sacred Heart doesn't often offer competitive salaries like larger facilities are able to.
The folks we have, most of them are committed for one reason or another to this population. Usually it's personal. We have several people who work in our facility who are in recovery themselves. Aside from just recovery coaches, we have nurses, we have direct care staff, we have a lot of people who are in solid recovery themselves.
Johnson said the other big challenge has been transportation, but Sacred Heart has been able to purchase a van using county-provided funds, and that van has now provided more than 320 rides since last July. She said Sacred Heart is now on track and ready to help more in need, forming a partnership with Corewell Behavioral Health. Sacred Heart is one of 2 partners working with the county to address those addiction issues. The first is First Church of God, which opened a home to help those on the road to recovery. Other news, renovations are being planned for the Berrien County Administration Building in St. Joseph. Berrien County Commissioner Jim Curran told colleagues last week the Administration Committee has met with Bakioki Construction Services to learn about their options for improving security at the facility. Key county officials, the ones whose offices will be affected, took part in that meeting.
We had a good discussion, good participation. We had 4 of the electeds that are occupying this building: Register of Deeds, the Drain Commissioner, the Treasurer, and the County Clerk.
Curran said there was plenty to discuss, so the meeting went long and is going to resume later. The goal of the upgrades is to improve public wayfinding so the public can find their way around the building, better define areas that are open to the public and those that are supposed to be staff-only areas, accommodate visitors with disabilities, improve the entranceway ways, add seating for people filling out forms, and beef up the overall security of the building. Commissioners are looking at a few different scenarios for and the costs for each scenario with that work. The base level project estimated to be about $331,000. Some of the scenarios could run from $500,000 to $790,000. Curran will report more information back to the Board of Commissioners after further discussions. And if you're out swimming this summer, health officials are saying stay away from the foam.
Yeah.
Stay away from the foam. That's the message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, which has reissued their annual reminder. The department's Andrea Keatley tells us for a variety of reasons, you're just better off avoiding the foam that's floating in the water.
It's getting warmer outside, and more people are going to be excited about getting into the lakes and rivers and water bodies in Michigan. And we want to make sure that we remind them to avoid foam, especially on our surface waters, because it helps them reduce their exposures to harmful substances that might be in that foam.
This isn't just for areas known to have contamination issues. She says it's a wider concern.
Foam can have chemicals in it, can have bacteria in it. It's just a statewide messaging for water bodies that where foam may develop.
Keatley says foam could also just be the result of plant matter breaking down, but it's also a sign of the presence of chemicals. And she says it's just safer to avoid it. We have a link for more information at our website, WSJM.com. You ever see foam on the water?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, I'd like to splash that.
Right. I want to dive into that pile of foam. It's got to be plant matter.
No.
That's decomposing.
No. I mean, being in the news industry from time to time, you get to tour interesting places.
Yes.
Including wastewater treatment plants. When they churn that stuff up, there's foam.
Is there?
You stay away from it. You stay away from it for sure.
Get a big cup of foam.
But they do say that there's also chemicals and stuff that foam up.
That's a nice way of saying other things.
Yeah, chemicals.
Chemicals.
Yeah. So
isn't everything at some point a chemical?
I suppose.
Yeah.
I suppose. I'll find that degree and dust it off. Yeah. 7-Eleven, it's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. We've got more coming up in just a couple of minutes. We've got sports right now from the Michigan News Network.
Tigers beat the Blue Jays 3-2 at the Rogers Center Sunday.
Oh my goodness. Is anything safe anymore?
No.
I was reading another story. Let me see if I can find it here about here it is. No, where did it go? I thought it was that. Oh, here's one. Yeah. 1 in 11 parents feel that they acted too late to stop their child's pacifier use. There's a new survey out from the University of Michigan Health, CS Mott, and they say that 4 in 5 parents think pacifier use should stop before age 2, but only 3 in 5 parents think thumb sucking should stop by that age. Therefore, they say 1 in 11 parents feel like they acted too late to stop their child's pacifier
1 in
use.
11.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Did your kids have pacifiers?
Yes. Yeah, they did.
You just popped them in, start crying, pop it in.
Right. Like a plug.
How long did you let them use those?
I don't remember.
Okay. They still have them?
Maybe.
I was dead set on never allowing them to have pacifiers, and they never did.
Oh, look at you.
Well, it just seemed like a thing you didn't need that could cause orthodontic issues at some point.
True.
So why?
The story I was told with myself is I had a pacifier, and my grandparents lived on the river in Lansing, Grand Ledge, and I was told that the fish did not have a store to get a pacifier, and that I should give my pacifier to the fish. So I went to the river and threw my pacifier in to share it with the fish.
So it was a nice way of them transitioning you away from your pacifier. Right. You gave one to the fish.
Right. And then at night when I was wanting a pacifier, then my mom would say, "You gave it to the fish." And I was like,
No, she said your pacifier is sleeping with the fishes.
Yeah. Yeah. Good Italian family. Not Italian.
So the pacifier, I assume, was made out of some sort of plastic material. So you threw plastic in the water.
Right. Oh, totally.
Even as a kid, you're littering.
So I was told it never made it to the water. That I thought I threw it in the water, but that they retrieved it later and threw it out.
Gross.
So it was in a landfill.
Speaking of which, if you play a water hazard, if you're golfing and you drop your golf ball in the water, isn't that littering? Aren't you harming the environment?
Theoretically, yes.
Although there is an industry to retrieve those and sell them.
Yeah, but there is a lot of golf because the water level is really low right now.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of muddy golf balls at Harbor Shores.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I bet a few of them are mine.
Could be.
That's yeah. And if you ever play golf and your golf ball gets into that muck, it can land. It go like 6 inches down.
Oh,
you're never getting that thing back.
Easy. Yeah.
Gross.
There's the splash, and then there's the sound. You hit a ball, and all of a sudden it hits the button. It's just it's a slappy, muddy sound.
I have not played Orchard Hills, where the Beard Private Wealth Management charity golf tournament is coming up in June.
Mm-hmm.
Any water hazards there?
It's on the river.
Well, but you don't have to golf over the river.
No, not over, but there are 2 holes that run along the river.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, no water hazards, but it is narrow. It's a narrow course.
Okay. All right. So what you basically want to do is tell your friend, oh, we've got to get back on the air. Hang on a second.
Okay.
T22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
7:16, it's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg here with Mike Weibel. We were just talking on the video live stream. If you miss the video live stream, you miss a lot because we're on YouTube and we're on Facebook. But if you miss it, if you happen to be out and about working or you're driving or whatever and can't watch the video, that's fine. We have it archived. And so you can go back and watch it on YouTube or Facebook at any time you want. We were just talking a moment ago about golf balls and the water hazards. And I think the one thing that you want to do if you're golfing with a buddy and you want them to go into the water hazard is you tell them, you say, watch out for that water.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Don't
think about it. Whatever you do, the key to getting over water is don't think about the water and not at the bottom of the water.
Yeah. Then they just like a magnet.
Yeah.
Wham. Speaking of magnets for hazards, did you see this? We're still having problems with airplanes.
Yeah.
Yeah. American Airlines flight and a United Airline flight almost played tag. American Airlines 4736 nearly took off from an occupied runway at LaGuardia Airport over the weekend, while United Airlines flight UA 2657 was still taxiing on the same runway. The incident, actually it occurred last week, highlights what they call systemic flaws in U.S. air traffic control procedures. There's been a lot of focus on air traffic control, and rightly so.
Right.
But all of a sudden we have all these issues.
Yeah.
It's like the drones are appearing.
Right.
Now we're focused on this.
Yeah. Now we have airplanes and helicopters dropping out of the sky.
According to one of the agencies that scores that looks at near misses, they say this near miss really highlights long-standing concerns about communication gaps and runway management practices at some of the nation's busiest airports, including LaGuardia. They say while both aircraft were following air traffic control instructions, the division of control between the tower and the ground frequencies created what they call a dangerous situation. Again, the United flight landed at LaGuardia. It was instructed to taxi down runway 13 and exit via a specific taxiway. Meanwhile, the American Eagle flight, one of those smaller ones, was preparing for departure, and that aircraft at the very same time was cleared to line up and wait on the runway. During the process, United missed its designated exit point, so that's where the big problem came in. Ground control rerouted it to another taxiway while it was still on the active runway. At that moment, the tower controller gave American Eagle the clearance to take off. Yikes. So you had a series of issues going on there in non-communication or missed communication. As the American Eagle began its takeoff roll, the system issued an automated conflict alert, AI to save the day. Yeah, simultaneously, a Spirit Airlines pilot was transmitting on the same frequency, however, and blocked that critical communication. So the errors were piling up, and then all of a sudden, when the automated AI system said, "Hey, wait a second, we've got a problem," somebody else was talking on the same channel, and blocked that communication. How does that happen?
Probably put it in their Jimmy John's order.
Yeah, they were saying, "Hey, you still got any of that salami on rye?
I'll have a number 3.
Extra mayo, please." So anyway, they say the most glaring flaw exposed by the incident is the U.S. system's division of runway control between the two separate controllers, the tower and the ground, on the different radio frequencies. In most other countries, once an aircraft enters a runway, the tower maintains full control until it has completely exited. I think that makes sense.
It does.
I don't know why we do it differently.
Because we're Americans.
Because we're Americans and we can.
We do it the way we want to do it.
Anyway, I'm sure the FAA will be looking at this. The NTSB will probably have a say in it. Also, Congress, because they love to weigh in on these things as well. Other news that we're talking about this morning, University of Michigan economists predicted on Friday increased tariffs on cars, parts, aluminum, and steel will reduce Michigan's employment growth by 13,000 jobs over the next 5 years. Yeah, they say tariffs. What? You look perplexed.
Well, 13,000 jobs
doesn't seem like much, does it?
Over the next 5 years? No.
Yeah. It seems almost like a statistical error.
Right.
It doesn't feel like that if you're the one that's either getting a job or not getting a job.
Right.
But that seems like a relatively small number compared to some of the other nightmare scenarios we're hearing.
Right.
The two researchers of UM's research seminar in quantitative economics detailed their projections during quantitative economics. Sign up for that degree.
Right.
It's going to be tough. Detailed their projections during a meeting at the Michigan Capitol where state officials heard presentations from experts to set tax revenue projections and expectations for the next state budget and slightly scaled back their expectations. One of the researchers said his group forecasts that Michigan's economy will add jobs at a moderate pace in the coming years, but he said the growth will face a negative hit from higher tariffs imposed by Republican President Donald Trump's administration and those imposed as retaliation by other countries. They said, we believe the economic momentum was solid coming into this quarter. However, we'll likely see tariffs drag on the economy soon, and they expect that drag to start being felt this summer.
So it says, I just looked up.
Yeah.
4.5 million people are employed in the state of Michigan.
Excellent.
And over the next 5 years,
that.
We're going to basically not increase by 2,000.2 a year. I mean, that's like saying I'm only going to have one fly land on me this summer versus two flies.
And they're also told that it's hard to say right now whether the projected 13,000 tariff-spurred job losses will come to fruition. So they don't even know if that will happen. Yeah, they don't want to. But they're projecting that there will be a negative impact. I think that's the takeaway. You roll your eyes.
They're just doing raspberries.
Other news about Michigan. We had this in the newscast, but over the weekend, the National Weather Service confirmed another 3 tornadoes from last Thursday. As that brought last Thursday's storm event to a total of 9 tornadoes in Michigan. On average, Michigan has 16 tornadoes a year.
Oh, so we're halfway there.
Well, as of May 18th, yesterday, the National Weather Service has confirmed 25 tornadoes in the state this year.
Oh, we're done.
You would hope, including those that touched down last Thursday. One more Michigan tornado would put 2025 in the top 10 for years with the most tornadoes in Michigan since 1950. In 1975, weather officials reported 26 confirmed tornadoes. 1974 holds the record for most tornadoes in 1 year since 1950 with 39 confirmed. So let's see. Looking at the top 10 list, what do we have here? 1974, 39 tornadoes. 2001, 35 tornadoes. 1976, 33 tornadoes. Same thing for 1973. Yeah. So 1975 had 26 tornadoes. So that is a lot of tornadoes. As far as like the strong ones, because we're looking at if you have EF0, you've got speeds up to 85 miles per hour. EF1s, which was a lot of what we had last week, talking about something in the 90s. Then you got EF2, EF3. The most EF2 storms were also in 1974. They had 20 EF2 tornadoes or stronger. And then 1976, 14.
Was a very EF-er year.
Yeah. The National Weather Service says strong tornadoes are formed from a combination of warm, moist, rising air and strong wind shear. Wind shear is a change in wind speed and or direction with height that helps provide spin to the supercell thunderstorms that aid in the tornado formation. Also, some of the tornado or the damage that they were looking at, especially up in Allegan County, was on the shoreline of Lake Michigan. You usually don't see that.
Correct.
Usually don't, when you think about tornadoes and tornado activity and strong wind activity, the lake protects us.
Right.
That didn't happen this time.
So I was talking to one of the guys yesterday from Chicago that was flying out of Chicago during last week's dust storm warning.
Oh yeah, the dust storm. Could you believe that?
No.
Did you?
I got the alert on my phone and
Same.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
But he said he was flying out of O'Hare and was like one of the last flights to get out of O'Hare. And he says, as you took off and was turning toward, he was going to Boston, you could see it coming in.
Yeah.
And he said it was like crazy. Just, yep.
Did you experience any of it?
No.
I saw it. So when I got the alert on my phone, I looked outside and I was like, oh yeah, it is kind of
hazy
outside. And in fact, I was talking with Stephanie. She was outside during it and felt the dust particles getting in her eyes.
Okay.
And so it was, dust storm.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy stuff. And as far as explanation as to why, basically the explanation I heard from the weather folks was that a lot of planting going on this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
So you're disturbing a lot of topsoil. Okay. And just because of the way the wind patterns went and all the activity that was happening, luck had us and all the dust came our way.
Huh.
Yeah. So you plant the fields, you're going to raise a little bit of dust. You like to eat, bear with the dust.
Right. Well, when we were in Greece last week, last week?
Week before that.
Yeah. One day it was really hazy and the Uber driver says, does that look like fog to you? And we were like, yeah, it looks like fog. It's not. It's dust out of Africa.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I thought about that.
Yeah, he said when the wind comes from the south at a certain velocity, it brings dust in from Africa. And it was like, that's just a bizarre thought that, oh, yeah, that's not fog.
Transcontinental dust.
Yeah.
All right. We've got to catch up on a couple of messages here. More coming up, including our weather forecast, which it does not look like we'll get a dust storm today. So that's good news.
Oh, yeah. Woo.
I think everyone's got their power back now.
Yep. Yeah, but that was a nightmare.
That was a nightmare. Well, let's double check that real quick. Well, we'll double check that in a moment. We got to get to these messages. We'll be back with more in a few minutes. We've got the Bloomberg Market Minute to catch up on, our ABC News, world and national news, and local news and sports. It's a whole lot more coming up on the WSJM Morning Show.
Have you been thinking about building your safe?
Yeah, that dust stuff was just crazy. Thank you for reminding me about that.
Mm-hmm.
We had the window open because it was nice. It felt like nice having that breeze. Open the window full on, and I could feel like the grit, microscopic grit, the grit. Anyway, what else are you looking at this morning?
Brett just said it's kind of hard to hear you.
Brett always says it's hard to hear you on the microphone.
I said, I think Ken turns me down.
Sometimes I do. That's true. So here, you give us a level, how you think it should be.
How I think it should be?
Yeah, how you normally talk.
This is how I normally talk.
Okay. So you've got to be up on the microphone, but not that close. Don't contaminate it.
I'm not touching it.
And then the one thing we want to miss, or we want to be careful of, is not popping our peas. Don't pop your pea.
No popping the peas.
No popping the peas, because that is an unpleasant experience for the listener. Let's say good morning to the folks on the video live stream. Teresa says, we didn't get anything from the storm last week. Oh, that was crazy. We saw it coming. Oh, she's talking about the dust. Yeah, the haze. Yeah, that was crazy. Planes crashing is not new. It's why I hate to fly. Yes, that's from Bill. John says, good morning. Good morning, John. Diane says, good morning. Well, good morning, Diane. Yeah, planes crashing is not new, but we've made improvements, significant improvements. This whole air traffic controller thing I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
No.
But we're hearing a lot about it right now, and on an issue that seems like it's probably been around for a long time. We just haven't been talking about it. And even in the news stories we're reading, they're saying a long-standing issue, known issue. of the difference between, like, for instance, the tower and the ground control.
Kind of it makes me wonder, like, it was probably 7 or 8 years ago, there was like all this news around sharks, climate change, and sharks.
They're a thing.
Yeah. Sharks
are
in Florida and shark attacks and whatnot because they were looking for bait and whatnot. And come to find out, it was actually a lower than normal year for shark bites, but it made it sound like it was Jaws all over again. So it makes you wonder how much of this is just like the news focusing in on this, which makes us aware, or is it actually out of the ordinary?
Well, so it's not, I would suggest it's the news reporting it, at least in our case, because you do have, number one, plane collisions. I mean, we had what happened at Reagan National. That was one thing. That wasn't the air traffic, ground traffic control problem. But we've had the problem of the planes near missing for a while on the tarmac. But the air traffic control, I think, is the one thing that they're talking about right now. And what are they coincidentally talking about in tandem with that? How are we staffing these?
Right.
And how old is the equipment? Now, the equipment age has been out there for a long time. Do we have the latest, greatest? Can we invest the millions, hundreds of millions of dollars or more?
But shouldn't we? I mean, I think we should.
See, and that's exactly the response they want elicited is from folks on both sides of the political spectrum. Why aren't we investing more money? Because right now we're in a budget cutting time.
Yeah, but
Yabbits live in the woods, by the way.
Yabbits, but isn't it like where we're spending the money? Right?
Yes, it's always where we're spending the money.
Right.
You can tell a government's priorities by where they spend money.
But if we're upgrading our air traffic control systems,
which we should
versus paying for studies of cow flagellants or something like that. I mean, could we say, hey, we're going to stop the 5-year or 10-year study on cow farts and invest in air traffic?
And it would smell better that way.
Right. Totally. So flying, like when I was traveling back, all these airlines, when you go on their websites, ask for you to donate. Like when you get on the plane, hey, we're working for a zero carbon emissions in 2055.
Okay.
Would you like to donate $1, $3, $5, $10 toward our zero emissions?
The airlines?
Yes.
They want you to donate money to them.
Money, right. Because they want you to, if the plane farts are ruining America.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was, I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Do you remember that there was a Star Trek episode, and I can't remember which one it was on, if it was the original Star Trek series or the Next Generation. But there was a Star Trek episode where there was great concern being raised among all the sentient beings of the what was being left behind by starships moving through space.
Oh.
And it was a political commentary on kind of what's happening, planes and transportation, everything else.
Planes, trains, and
in just a moment on the WSJM Morning Show.
Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
And the WSJM Morning Show continues. Wow, that's really loud. Why is that so loud?
I don't know.
Oh, there we go. That's much better. It's 7:33. Are you loud enough? Are you loud enough for Brett?
I don't know, Brett. Am I loud enough?
Sometimes
Brett,
we
testing one. Brett, testing two.
Sometimes we get a little carried away, and sometimes guests in that chair are too far away from the microphone, and the microphone is so smart that it starts squelching other noise.
Oh,
that isn't supposed to be heard. And sometimes if
Brett said yes, he could hear me.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, Brett.
We've got the Brett seal of approval. It's Monday, May 19th. It's 7:33 a.m. It's the WSJM Morning Show. Good morning. I'm Ken Lundberg. Here with me is Mike Weibel.
Brett says finally. So Brett, can you tell me, do we need to turn Ken down?
He's been grousing about it for months now.
He has been.
Yeah, ever since
too loud.
Ever since he got too busy and couldn't do the morning show and you started coming in, Brett's been saying, hey, Mike, I can't hear you. Mike, I can't hear. I think he's trying to get inside your head.
So
water hazard
Brett,
ahead.
Now he's putting it off on you.
Water hazard ahead.
Again, we're starting a Brett and Mike Union.
It's 45 degrees
Call it the
outside.
PM Union.
Oh, nice. It's 46 degrees in St. Joseph, 44 in South Haven, 44 in Dowagiac right now. We've got some clouds out there, some sunshine. I see beautiful sunshine. Partly sunny skies expected today with increasing clouds, bringing with them a 20% chance of showers today, a high around 67 degrees. Tonight's forecast, mostly cloudy, a 30% chance of showers. Tomorrow is when we turn the corner for more precipitation. Mostly cloudy, a 70% chance of rain, a high around 55 degrees tomorrow. So going through a little bit of a transition with that. Those east winds are going to be blowing at 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusting up to 35 miles per hour tomorrow. Going to suggest because of the wind and the rain tomorrow, probably not your ideal barbecue day.
No, probably not.
Probably not.
Or kite flying or...
Well, yeah, I suppose. Wednesday's forecast, mostly cloudy and a 60% chance of rain. We'll talk about grill safety in a few moments.
Really?
Grill safety. How to stay safe, keep yourself and others safe around the barbecue.
My mom lives next to a guy who turned on this grill and melted all the siding off of this shed.
You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
That's a bad thing.
It is.
We'll talk about that and more in just a couple of minutes right here on the WSJM Morning Show.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Former President Biden and his family weighing options now that he's been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer.
It's important to understand that prostate normal cells, as well as prostate cancer cells, respond to testosterone. But not all prostate cancer cells respond to hormones. And in this case, the president's prostate cancer cells do respond to hormones, which means that is another opportunity for treatment and hormone therapy, which is where you would give medication that block the hormone to reduce the risk of recurrence and spread of the cancer.
ABC medical contributor Dr. Darian Sutton. More than 24 people were killed as a line of strong storms moved across the South and Midwest over the weekend, most in Kentucky. Another line of nasty weather that could include tornadoes is set to hit parts of Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri later today. President Trump is set to call Russian President Vladimir Putin in a few hours to discuss the war in Ukraine. Afterwards, he's got a call scheduled with Ukrainian President Zelensky. This is ABC News.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
7:36, the WSJM Morning Show continues. Good morning, I'm Ken Lundberg. With me is Mike Weibel. We'll be back to some of the chit-chat in just a moment. First off, taking a look at some of the news that we'll have at 8 o'clock this morning. It was a total of at least 9 tornadoes that touched down in Michigan late last week. National Weather Service confirming over the weekend 3 more tornadoes in West Michigan from the storms on Thursday. That makes for a total of 4 tornadoes that touched down in West Michigan. We'll tell you a little bit more about that. And a nice, happy thing that happened when there's a huge tree that fell.
Yeah.
Almost clobbered a museum in South Haven. Didn't, just by inches.
Wow.
So we'll tell you a little bit more about that.
Goodness.
Coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. Also, Benton Harbor City Commissioners are being asked to make another emergency transfer of city income tax money into the general fund. You'll recall they did this back in March.
Yeah.
$450,000. They're asking now for another $800,000. That request will have to be considered on Wednesday. So we'll talk.
$800,000?
Yeah. So
for what?
To pay the bills, current bills.
Man.
Yeah. So we're looking at if they get approval for both of those, well, they already got the 450. If they get approval for another 800,000, that'll be $1.2 million in change that they've had to borrow from themselves just this year, and we're only in May. All right, we've got more news coming up at 8 o'clock this morning, including our world and national news from ABC. Right now, we've got the latest from around the state, and then we'll have sports.
The Michigan News Network.
I'm Beth Fisher. We've all heard the slogan, click it or ticket. Now, Michigan State Police.
You always wear your seatbelt, right?
Yep.
Good. Always wear your seatbelt.
Why wouldn't you?
I don't know. I mean,
years ago, probably 15, 20 years ago, I was driving through Stevensville and a state patrolman that I know pulled me over because I was not wearing my seatbelt. And I had a suit on at the time. And
right.
He was like, pulls me over. He's like, why are you not wearing your seatbelt? And I said, well, I got a suit on. I don't want to wrinkle my suit.
Oh, you did not.
I did. And he said to me, yeah, that's what I'll tell your family when you die in a crash is he didn't have a seatbelt on because he wanted his suit to be pressed for his funeral. I'm like, okay, you got me.
See, I think that was a good comeback.
It was.
That was good. And by the way, if you ever do find a situation where you're having to ride around in a suit. Number one, it doesn't leave that big of a mark.
No.
Number two, take your jacket off before you get in the car.
Right. Take your jacket off.
That
It's
would
not
be
that big of a deal.
That would be the easiest thing to do on that.
And if it's wrinkly when you get in a wreck, the coroner will be happy to press it.
They will press it or get a new suit. So that's a bit macabre.
A bit.
Teresa says, I have no problem hearing either of you. And Diane says the same thing. And Stuart says, good morning. Good morning, Stuart.
Good morning, Stuart.
It's good to see you. Let's see.
Well, maybe Brett needs to go to the hearing professionals. This is a good time for an ad.
Most people wait 7 years before seeking professional help for a hearing issue. It can improve the quality of your life, quality of your relationships, quality of your experience at work. Brett, you might think about it. It's a good call out.
We could give you a coupon.
I'm sure he appreciates that.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Well, he can get a free screening. Just call the professionals at Professional Hearing Services in St. Joseph.
Really?
Yeah.
What, do you know their number by chance?
I don't.
Oh,
I know how to Google stuff.
Oh,
that's what I tell my kids.
Google stuff. So, Brett, maybe you need to Google stuff.
All right. What do we have here? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I think we're on track. The Stuart, by the way. Let's see. I'm going to text you, Stuart. Do you mind if I talk about what you're doing right now?
What are you doing?
Or I'm not going to text you. I'm just going to say it, and then you can text me. Just text me your response privately on my phone.
No. Go Facebook, Stuart.
All right. Yeah, so we're having anyway, we're having more drain issues. We got the kitchen clog fixed.
Oh, that's right. We need a drain update.
So last week, all of a sudden, I think it was on the weekend, that the drain stopped working in the kitchen.
Okay.
Which is always a pain. We called a plumbing company. Stephanie called a plumbing company, and the first plumbing company said, we're backed up. Can't get to you. But they said, call these people or these people. She called the other people. They were able to come out and fixed it right away. No problem. Done. Done.
Nice.
And didn't even scold us for what we do. Because we have a garbage disposal, so we put eggshells down, which you said sharpen the blades.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
Because that makes sense.
Right.
I like that. But we also put like tea leaves and stuff like that down there. I do not put my coffee grounds down it.
No.
I just don't. But anyway, they didn't scold us for anything that we were doing.
Like kombucha slime down there?
No. I usually eat that stuff. That's good stuff.
Oh.
Although I'm experimenting with anyway. So the drain backed up. Got fixed, but now we're having issues with a couple of the tubs, the showers. I don't believe in coincidence.
No,
I think they just moved the drain clog somewhere else.
Just pushed it down the line.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how our plumbing is constructed, but
sounds like a Johnny Cash song.
Again, I don't.
I walk the line.
I don't know what.
Because you're mine.
That's good.
Thank you.
That's very good. Unusual, but good. So anyway, so we've got to figure out. So my current plan, is Drano in the top bathroom tub and Drano in the bottom one as well. And thank you for using the cough switch.
Yeah.
And
I'm learning.
I don't think the stuff I looked up said use a plunger on it to get it going. I don't think that's going to work because all the drains have the additional exhaust thing. So if you try to plunge it, it's just going to, there's no pressure you can build up.
Except wherever the clog is at. So if the clog is, let's say it's between upstairs and downstairs, if you plunge upstairs, you'll loosen the clog.
But what I'm saying is if I use the plunger on the drain in the tub, there's always that air valve in the same tub.
Yeah, you gotta plug that.
They don't make it easy to plug that.
No, I only say this because I was just at my mother's house this weekend, and she was like, "Oh, I've got a slow drain."
Yes,
which I bought her this stuff that's supposedly supposed to, and she wasn't using it. So I put it down the drain and let it sit for a minute, and then I took the plunger, and did it in the sink and closed off the one side. And she's like, "Oh, my shower is also the problem." So I had to go in there, and where the spout comes out of the shower for the bathtub, I stuck my finger in that little vent,
and
then plunged.
And that worked.
Yeah.
Okay. That blocked enough pressure.
Right.
Okay. Because I understand, because they're both right above each other. I got to work on the top one to make sure the bottom one works as well. Let's see if Stuart texted me. Oh, good. He says, sure. Yeah. All right. So I can talk about it. Stuart is actually in the middle of heading out west to his, I hesitate to say internship because it's not an internship anymore. It's just his summer college job. And so he's working for a technology company out in San Francisco. And he decided to drive, which I love this, drive across country. We'll talk about this in just a moment on the WSJM Morning Show.
Temperatures today around 60 degrees near the lakeshore, 65 inland. Tonight we'll drop down to 47 and we'll see rain showers tomorrow with a high of 55. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
It's the WSJM Morning Show. Good morning, 7:45. You forgot the clock?
Yeah.
When we have the noise,
So
we have to do the thing.
Our online plumber, which is Brett Wachowski,
Right.
says get 2 bottles of Drano and put an old rag in the holes.
Yeah. No, that's what I plan to do because I don't think putting my finger in the air hole will work. You have big fingers.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, if you missed the video live stream, you missed a lot because we're talking about plumbing situations.
Yes, which
So,
is critical.
Check it out on YouTube and on
Critical
Facebook.
to your lifestyle in Southwest Michigan.
How
to unplug your drain.
7:46 on the WSJM Morning Show, and we've got the Moody on the Market update coming up next. I was just about to talk about one of my sons, Stuart. I have 3 sons, and Stuart, Sawyer, and Samuel, and we all 4 of us played what almost became a marathon session of Monopoly this weekend.
Really?
Yeah, on Saturday, because Stuart, my oldest, has a summer job out in San Francisco. He goes to school in New York, and he's going out to San Francisco for the summer to continue working for a technology company. And so Saturday, he was going to leave to go drive across country to go with his summer job, which is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I've driven across country several times. It's quite an experience. You get to see a lot of country that you don't see when you're flying over in an airplane. So you drive and it's fun. Anyway, he was supposed to leave early Saturday morning and did not because he wanted to hang around and enjoy family a little bit longer.
Okay.
And I said, okay, since you're going to be leaving soon, why don't you choose what we're going to do this morning? He said, why don't we play a board game? I said, okay, you pick the game.
Oh.
He picked Monopoly. That tells me he didn't want to leave. So that was really cute.
He wasn't planning on leaving too soon.
That was really cute. And I will report, and I'll talk more about this on the video live stream if you wish.
Yes, please.
That I kicked tail at Monopoly. And we played the version where we made up our own rule modification of free parking. Everything, all money transacted goes into free parking.
Oh.
I won it the first time. Stuart won it, I think, 2 or 3 times. And I think Sawyer got it once. But regardless, it was a lot of fun.
So update us on
and I won.
Sam.
And I had Boardwalk.
Okay, good for you. Glad your life is complete. Update us on Samuel's tennis.
Oh, I shall. But in just a moment, because first we have to get to the Moody on the Market update.
Well, after that, please.
The Moody on the Market update is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. I call IMS Today, your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. And your Moody on the Market update today, talking about a potential residential development that is now facing some delays from FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency. It'll likely be mid-2026 now before we see a groundbreaking, if that happens, at the Berrien Hills River's Edge project on the side of the old Berrien Hills Country Club. Yeah, along the St. Joe River on Napier Avenue.
Wow.
A newly defined floodway map from FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, places a significant portion of the 102-acre project within the official St. Joe River floodway, thereby making that section likely uninsurable and probably unbuildable in terms of permanent structures and improvements. So that's kind of a setback.
Wouldn't somebody have looked at that before?
Well, I think they are new maps from FEMA, and you can read that story. You see it right here. The new developers of Berrien Hills, the Ridge Group of Muncie, Indiana, became aware of the new FEMA maps only a few months ago after their fall 2024 announcement of an aggressive development plan that included a variety of housing options, a new marina, and commercial and public spaces using the entire former golf course, both on top of and below the St. Joe River Bluff. Now, the Ridge Group finds itself reassessing that plan, determining what's possible on higher ground under the new FEMA flood map, as well as considering what legal appeals might be possible to modify the federal restrictions for portions of the original master plan. We know that area floods. Everyone knows that area floods. So I don't really think there's a question. I think what they were banking on, so to speak, was building up the riverbank,
right,
and building up that whole area so that you wouldn't have.
But now, if it's uninsurable,
now if it stays within that FEMA floodway map, then, like you said, you have the problems with the insurance. You have problems with other.
So how do they get that the residents on the other side of Napier?
Good question.
Because I guess they used to be called Mosquito Flats. Seriously.
Yeah, I know.
So, so how do they get all those high-end houses over there when you can't build them across
I think
the
it all
street?
depends on when you build and what the map said at the time. And now these new maps are saying, we know that's an issue. We know that's an issue. 7:50, it's the WSJM Morning Show. If you want to read that full article and get all these questions answered that you have, check it out. It's at moodyonthemarket.com. The Moody on the Market update is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today. They are your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. It's 7:51. We've got more coming up next. We've got, in fact, on the video live stream, I'll continue talking about the Monopoly game.
Rich Brand and Tarek Halsey of IMS Insurance.
Oh my gosh, what is going on with you?
It's allergies, man. Killing me.
You should start wearing a mask.
I could.
So the pollen builds up outside.
Just like a hood
or
over my head.
Eat more honey. Local honey.
Yeah, local honey's the key.
Have you had any local honey this year?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, have you played Monopoly? When's the last time you've never played Monopoly?
Yeah, of course I have, but not in forever because I don't have that time commitment.
Wow. Anyway, so
that's the only drawback to Monopoly is it just takes so long.
And usually I would agree with you, and that's why I typically avoid.
But you won, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I started winning, and I started seeing the stacks of 500s pile up again and again, and then we were making property deals with each other.
Oh.
And I still feel bad because
no, you don't.
No, I still feel bad because I had a utility.
Okay.
Sawyer had a utility.
Okay.
And I had 2 of 3 properties, and to get the Monopoly, Sawyer had the other one. And so I traded him my utility for that property so I could build houses and hotels.
Right.
And he said, I don't know if I want this. And I said, no, this is really good. Look, you can get up to 10 times the rent. 10 times the rent if somebody lands, if you have both of them. And I thought, I couldn't remember exactly what the factor was.
Right.
But then as I looked at the fine print and Stuart started shouting at Sawyer, don't do it. It was only 10 times the amount shown on the die.
Oh.
So the most it'll ever be is like $120.
Right.
Whereas the hotels I put on the property, I was getting $1,100 a pop. It was fantastic. I still feel bad.
So you swindled your own son.
I kind of did, and I feel real bad about it.
But you got over it when you won.
I did get over it when I started getting the hotel rents. And by the way, it wasn't. They weren't hotels because it was the Simpsons version of the game Monopoly, and so they called them subway stations or monorail stations. They called them monorails. Remember the Simpsons and the monorail. Anyway.
So what about tennis?
Oh, Samuel won his conference.
Oh, no way.
He's playing doubles. And they went to I think it was Thursday, and they started early in the morning, and I think 8:00 or something. I mean, relatively early. They started at 8:00, and I kept getting updates throughout the morning. And the first one was, hey, they won their first one. Oh, they're now in the semifinals. Hey, Samuel won. Yeah, so he won. He and his partner won the conference.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's super excited.
So are they going to state now?
Well, I don't think so. I don't.
They won districts.
Ask me. I don't know. Foosball. I mean, maybe they have to play foosball first. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, he does have. He said that basically they're over for the season, and he's in junior high.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So he'll be going to high school next year. So maybe that's it. So but he does have another tournament that he's signing up for, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after next. So we'll see how that does.
Because he didn't play tennis at all before the season, right?
I mean, just play, pick up tennis,
right?
But nothing formal or organized, and so he's just really taken to it and loves it. And so I hope he continues to appreciate it and get better. I know he's taken some lessons, so that's good.
Nice.
Yeah, tennis.
He has become a what's the word for it?
Tennis aficionado.
Prodigy.
Oh, a prodigy.
A tennis prodigy.
Yes. And
he's the Andre Agassi of Niles.
I feel I'm just very glad and appreciative that he got my genes in that way.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
He has my tennis genes, just like Andre Agassi.
Right. He's probably wearing a cardigan at 8th grade.
Jean shorts.
Yeah.
Remember that? When Andre Agassi was wearing jean shorts, was it to Wimbledon?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm
glad the fashion changed, by the way.
Yes. I remember back in the day when Andre Agassi was playing and they asked him what it was like to be young and be so wealthy. And he said, I don't really know. And they're like, what do you mean you don't know? And he goes, when I go into a store or a car dealership and I want something, I just call my accountant and say, hey, can I buy that? And he's like, hand me the phone. And then they let me take it home. So he didn't manage any of his money. He just let his accountant, which is why accountants steal from people because they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. And then, and he had those, the hair was really long, and now he's just totally shaved it all off.
And Brooke Shields, was he?
Yeah. They were a thing for a while. Yeah. All right, back in a moment. WSJM Morning Show.
Joseph, a product of Midwest Family Marketing and Media. Proudly serving our community. The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
7:56. It's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. Thank you so much for joining us. Here with me is Mike Weibel. And Mike, we promised that we'd talk a little bit about barbecue grill safety.
Yes.
And you had a story that you wanted to share. And in case anybody missed it, you've seen or at least heard firsthand, right, about this grill incident. Tell us what happened.
Yeah. So the the neighbor of my mother's, was grilling last summer and actually had their grill up against their shed, and it melted all the vinyl siding off. So even today, if you drive by there, the vinyl siding behind his grill has a big droop in it.
Oh no!
Yeah, so it didn't catch on fire.
Was it like the first time a brand new grill or a new location or something? Got too hot?
Yeah, and then just decided I'll go with it. So
yikes!
Yeah,
and that is why the National Fire Protection Association
teed that one up, didn't we?
Has come out with important safety guidelines to help ensure that grilling season remains fire safe for propane grills. This is just your public service reminder.
Yeah.
For propane grills especially, check the gas tank for leaks, keep your grill clean, make sure you remove all grease and fat buildup from the grills and the trays below.
Yeah.
The trays below that catch all that stuff so it doesn't drip on top of your propane tank and make a bomb out of it.
Yeah.
Those things need to be cleaned every so often.
They do.
Unless you're a vegetarian and you don't cook fat.
And even this time of year, if you've not grilled before, check to make sure that the squirrels haven't decided to turn your grill into an acorn storage bin. They do at my house.
They can chew on the hoses.
Right.
They and the other thing you have to worry about is all the spiders.
The tray down there, they fill it with acorns.
Oh,
so it's like
in
a
yours
buffet. They do. And then those things catch on fire, and now we got a fire. Got grease and acorns.
That smells good.
Oh yeah,
barbecue. Before lighting your gas-powered grill, they say always make sure your lid is open. Do you always keep your grill open when you open? I always keep it closed because I like the woof.
Yeah, no, I learned a long time ago.
Okay, keep it open when you're lighting the grill. If it's a gas grill, because they have the electronic ignition switch. Let's see. Keep children and pets at least 3 feet away from the grilling area.
Makes sense.
And also, it's a great excuse to just keep kids away from the grill.
Right.
Because they always distract you when you're trying to focus on the grill.
Right.
Data shows that between 2019 and 2023, gas grills were involved in an average of 9,200 home fires per year. 9,200 home fires per year.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So do be careful. It's a real thing. Just make sure you don't have it too close to your house, too close to your deck or your eaves or your overhanging branches.
Don't they have a distance? Do they say in there what the distance is they recommend away from the house?
Yeah, it says not too close.
Okay. It's official.
Okay.
I know when we were looking at,
We do have a clock. Go ahead.
yeah, but like what they recommend, like 20 feet away from the house. It was something really odd.
That seems too far.
Yeah,
Okay.
It did, but that's why houses burn down. It's too
It's
far.
7:59. It's the WSJM Morning Show. We've got the latest world and national news coming up from ABC. We'll have our local news coming up next. We'll also have our local weather forecast. The weather forecast for today does call for partly sunny skies, increasing clouds, though, and a chance of showers. High inland around 67.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Former President Joe Biden this morning posting on social media following his cancer diagnosis. He writes, like so many of you, Jill and I have learned that we are strongest in the broken places. Thank you for lifting us up with love and support. The former president and his family weighing treatment options for the aggressive form of prostate cancer he is now facing. ABC Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Tara Rolla.
We heard it did, in fact, spread to the bones. We know that that is a place where prostate cancer usually spreads. That means it is a stage 4B. Usually that means it is not curable. It is treatable. In general, we think about prostate cancer as being slow growing and usually having a good 5-year survival, 99%. When it is spread to distant sites, then that 5-year survival drops to about 37%.
President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump on social media wishing Biden well. Today, the president is set to call Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss